GPU Price Watch 2025 because GPU prices are too damn high and we're looking at them closely, hoping that they will come down. And short answer first, have they come down? Well, similar to last month, the answer is yes, but only slightly.
Hi guys, welcome to another video. So are we really in a GPU pricing crisis here? It seems to be that way for the viewers in America or the buyers in America. But is that really the same case for Singapore? So this is a screenshot from a video from Paul's Hardware where he did a GPU pricing update for the month of May, but he only uploaded it like 3 days ago. So it's like the last week of May that he uploaded it. So it's like really recent price updates that he got. So as you can see on the most right hand corner of his Excel sheet is his percentage over MSRP, which is very similar to what I did for my spreadsheet, just that I put it at the bottom. And you can see that there are quite a few, I mean, obviously all of them are above 100% over MSRP. A few of them are like 11 to 10% over MSRP, which is actually not too bad, which is what you see in Singapore. And there are some which is extremely over MSRP, like 57%, 74%, 46%. There's even one that's 75% over MSRP. That's below MSRP, but that is the old GPU 7900 XT. The rest are like, even for the 9070 is like 27% over MSRP, and the 9070 XT is like 40% over MSRP. B580s are like 24, 27% over MSRP as well. So that is that. So based on that information, most of the viewers in America are saying that, yeah, we have a GPU pricing crisis. Like GPUs are so expensive. Let's look at situation here in Singapore. So I've actually improved my spreadsheet a little bit. So this is the percentage over MSRP. This is for June 2025 based on my latest research as of this first week of June. You can see that, yeah, it's 6% over MSRP. The highest we have over MSRP is obviously the 5090, which is 43% over MSRP. Our 9070 XTs are like 16 to 70% over MSRP. This one I would need to add on. How much is this over MSRP? So it's this 13%. So the B580 is 13% over MSRP, but these prices are more or less what we expected. And you will see that actually in the country of Singapore, our GPU price trends are actually trending down. So it's actually getting cheaper and more affordable to get a GPU in Singapore. Okay, so let's start out. You can even see me listing like the 9060 XTs because one retailer actually has it listed even before, has the prices listed even before the GPU has officially launched, even before the reviews are up. And you can see that it is pretty positive, right? It's about 15 to 18% over its projected MSRP in Singapore. But anyway, let's go back to the start. If you're looking for like a budget GPU, so the cheapest GPUs you can find, that should, let me close this, it would be the 5060 and 5060 Ti. 8GB GPUs, because those are the cheapest that you can find. So the cheapest the 5060 is actually just launched like I think the last week of May, and the retailers in Singapore already have a lot of stock built up, and when release day was upon us, yeah, then now I'm seeing a flood of 5060s listed on Simlim Square price list, as well as Lazada, the Tech Yard, Amazon, and so on and so forth. This month I didn't bother to check Newegg because I realized actually Newegg has a pretty expensive shipping price, and based on the pretty competitive prices that I see from Simlim Square shops and the other shops, I don't think anything that is listed on Newegg can match. Looking at how Newegg GPUs are shipped from the US or from overseas, and how the overseas pricings are pretty terrible, right? The MSRP for pricing for them are pretty bad, so I don't think it can be competitive to anything that we have locally. So I'm focusing more on the local prices, and local prices also has an added advantage that it provides local warranty, because if you bought it from let's say you bought from Amazon or even Newegg, it's considered an export set, and the local distributors such as Ban Leong, CDL, Tech Dynamic, and so Corbel, and so on and so off. So for these are the local distributors for tech components and GPUs. They will not honor the warranty of a component that you brought in from overseas because it is not distributed by them. They don't make any profit margin from it. So Yeah, it is independent from them. So if that, so let's say you, for example, a Zotac card. Zotec's locally are backed by Tech Dynamic, because Tech Dynamic brings them in to Singapore to sell. If you actually buy a Zotac card like from Newegg or Amazon, which is an export set, and it get damaged, you go to Tech Dynamic, they will not honor the warranty. They will say that, oh sorry, it's an export set, so they won't replace it for us. Okay, so back to the cheapest budget GPUs. 5060 Ti 8GB. I actually made a video about them to say do not buy. Like if you were to buy at this price, you would be better off buying a used one, which I will demonstrate later. Let me just search up the 3070s. Yeah, I'll compare the price of the 3070 and maybe the 6800XTs later. But the cheapest 5060 8GB that you can buy, I mean 5060 are all 8GB, is actually at 459 Sing dollars, and that is just a mere 8% over its official, so-called official MSRP. So how, by the way, how I get the official MSRP is I take the price in USD, which is 300 USD, and I multiply it by USD to SGD conversion, which as the few days ago was 1.291. So it's around there, and I multiply by 9% by the GST tax in Singapore, which is 9%. Then that will give me the official MSRP. Doesn't factor in any profit margin that the seller or they all are supposed to make. Yeah. Then I have added something new, the FPS counter. So this I will explain a little bit later. Okay. So 459 Sing dollars for a 5060. Wait. I did some modifications. Yeah. So for 5060, 459 SGD is the cheapest I can find it. But at this price, I would suggest you buy a used 3070, which I will showcase later what are the prices you can get. Same thing for 5060 Ti 8GB. 5060 Ti 8GB will be faster than the 5060, but as you can see, the price is higher. Cheapest I can find is 565 Singapore dollars from Dynacore. Earlier, by the way, the 5060 cheapest one you can find from Laser Distributor, but from a few other sources on Simlim, such as Dynacore as well, you can also get it for a similar price. Even from Amazon and Lazada, you can get them for about 470 plus, also very similar price. So these are the cheapest 5060s. 5060 Ti 8GB cheapest is 565 Sing dollars. You can get similar price ones from the techyard.com, which is our online platform backed by Aftershock, and so on. But at these prices, it is really not worth it. So why I would say not worth it? Let me bring in this is the same browser. Okay, let me bring in Carousell. So on Carousell, I think there's a review. I forgot. Is it by I think by Gamers Nexus. Gamers Nexus did a review and they compared the 3070 to the 5060 8GB card, and they found that performance was actually roughly similar, and we can get used 3070s for way cheaper than the price, the retail price of 5060. So take note that 459, so 460 Sing dollars is our price of 5060, correct? 3070s, let's look for the cheapest ones. Cheapest one we can find here, literally 290 Sing dollars. I'm on my official. No, I'm not logged in. But 290 Sing dollars. That's the cheapest 3070 I've ever seen. Take note, of course, this is used. But other than that, if you scroll down, another $290 3070. This is in white as well. Yeah, beyond that, some of them are really very expensive. Then the next one up, we can see 330 Sing dollars. So this is like what, 75% of the price of a 5060, which is 460. And yeah, $320, $330, $300. So there are a lot of options for used 3070. Another $320, $320, $330. There are a ton of used 3070s that you can get. You can get probably like 10 of them, probably around the price of like 330 to 320 Sing dollars or even lower. So if you can snipe those at 280 or $290, good for you. Yeah, go ahead and get those because you're saving a lot of money. Even let's say if you have, so I mean, let's say you're getting the 3070, right? You have budget to spare. It's like, I have about $460 worth to invest in my GPU. Can I get a better used GPU than the 3070? Because I was prepared to buy a 5060, or maybe about $550 to buy a 5060 Ti 8GB. So can I use that budget elsewhere, such as the used market, and get an even better GPU? So let's try 60. The best used GPU I can find for around that value would be the 6800 XT. So 6800 XTs are very similar in performance to 7800 XTs, because the 7000 Radeon series, especially like the 7800 XT, didn't have a big jump over the 6800 XT in terms of performance, and also deliver 16 gigabytes of VRAM. The ray tracing did not improve much from 7000 to 6000 series as well. So I would say if you're going for a 6800 XT, you don't lose that much from the 7800 XT. So literally I can see here 450 Sing dollars listed 17 days ago for a 6800 XT, which again 5060 is $460. So this is cheaper than a brand new 5060. You have 16 gigabytes of VRAM compared to 8 gigabytes. It performs way faster. 6800 XT will perform way faster than a 5060. If you can't get this, let's say it's sold out, you have other options. Another one listed at $415. This guy listed the Nitro Plus edition at $460. This is a previous miner selling 6, each one for $530, 480, right? $480 Sing dollars. Can we get 500 Sing dollars? We get 480 Sing dollars, 430 Sing dollars, right? Pulse edition 6800 XT, 460 Sing dollars, 460 Sing dollars. This is 600, a little bit more expensive. 425 Sing dollars, 488. So this is just below 500 as well. So as you search the carousel market, you can find a bunch of them below 500 Sing dollars. The 6800 XT would perform way better than the 5060 Ti 8GB. How we know that is we have to look at this price comparison list. Let me try and load it. So this is from Tom's Hardware. So if you Google Tom's Hardware GPU hierarchy list, they actually have an article that compares the GPU performance. This was updated in April, I believe, or is it May? It features, most of the GPUs that we know of. Just the 5090 is already on here. So 5070 Ti, 5070, 9070 and 9070 XTs are all on here. So only the latest one, which is probably our 5060s, 5060 Ti's are not on this list yet, but they do perform very similarly to the 4000 series. So let's assume we get a 5060 Ti 8GB. It should perform roughly similar to the 4060 Ti 8GB. So it's roughly in this range. So at 1440p ultra across a range of games, it is averaging probably about 50 to 50 plus frames per second. If we look at the equivalent from AMD, which is earlier I mentioned the 6800 XT, it performs similarly to the 7800 XT. So let's discount its FPS by a few. It should probably perform in the 60 FPS range. So our 6800 XT would be somewhere around here, right? Somewhere in between this gap. So it will still perform way better than, so it will perform in this range. That will be a 6800 XT. It will still perform way better than here, that a 5060 Ti 8GB will probably generate. Maybe the 5060 Ti 16GB can perform a little bit better, but I am not super sure of that, right? So, but generally, if you have about 500 SGD to spend on a GPU, do not buy the 5060 8GB. Do not buy the 5060 Ti 8GB as well. Go to the used market, look for a 3070 if you're on lower budget. If you're on higher budget, look for a 6800 or a 6800 XT. You'll be spending about 420, 430, 450, anyway below 500 Sing dollars, and you score yourself a very capable gaming graphics card with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, so you won't get into any VRAM issues. Okay, so that was a big rant about that. So do not buy the 8GB brand new graphics cards. Move on. Let's move on to 5060 Ti 16GB. So the cheapest I can find is about 645 Sing dollars. That is from the techtubers.com. And at that price, it is a mere, let me check, is this correct? Yes, mere 6%, close to 7% over its MSRP, which is about $600 over dollars. So pretty close to its MSRP. 5060 Ti 16GB is not as bad of a card, but I mentioned earlier at this rasterization performance range, if you look at the earlier chart here, if we assume the 5060 Ti 16GB should perform similarly to the 4060 Ti 16GB, it still loses out to the 7800 XT, which means it will probably lose out to the 6800 XT. So for less money, it will still be better to get the 6800 XT 16GB. But if you want a brand new card with warranty, and your budget is about 650 Sing dollars, I don't really blame you if you're getting the 16GB model. But if you stretch it a little bit more, you can get the 5070. So moving on, 5070 performs way better than the 5060 Ti, but it is a lot more expensive. So the MSRP jumps up from 429 to 549 US MSRP, which means the Singapore MSRP is jumping all the way up to 772. But take note that this 809, let me check, this is not this, yes. So 809 Sing dollars, it is a mere 4%, almost 5% above its official MSRP, which is about 770 Sing dollars. So only about $30 more. So if you're going for a 5070, you have about 800 Sing dollars to spend. You want to go NVIDIA. 5070 is actually a pretty good deal right now. It is the nearest to MSRP I've ever seen an NVIDIA card. Typically, I think in Singapore, NVIDIA cards have never sold at MSRP, to my knowledge, especially the 4000 series. 3000 series definitely no, because it went through the crypto crisis, so they were all sold at extremely scalper prices. 2000 series maybe it was sold near to MSRP. I'm not too sure, because I bought my 2070s for about, I think, 500 over Sing dollars. So maybe the 2000 series were near the MSRP. 4000 series was definitely never near the MSRP. It was always slightly higher. So now we are at the 5000 series, and this is at 4% above MSRP. It's the lowest, it's the nearest to MSRP I have ever seen. So if you're really hunting for 5070, get it from the techtubers.com. Yeah, really good. Even if you miss out the deal from the Tech Yard, you will have to pay slightly more. So the other nearest ones will be from Laser at 859. If you miss that as well, then the next one is really closer to 900 Sing dollars. So you can see that it really goes away from MSRP once you miss out the deal from the Tech Yard. Okay, so that is 5070. But take note that the 5070 does have lower VRAM, 12 gigabytes of VRAM compared to the 16 gigabyte on the 5060 Ti, and also compared to the 16 gigabyte on the used 6800 XTs. So for anyone that's shopping in this range, 5060 all the way to 5070, usually I would suggest you go for a used card. 6800 XTs are my best recommendation. If you're on a way lower budget, you have about 300 HDD to spare, then go for a 3070, 8 gigabyte. Yeah, later we'll look at the 9070, which is the competitor to the 5070. You see that it's a little bit more expensive than the 5070. So the 5070 is actually a better buy between 9070 and 5070. Moving on, the next NVIDIA card in line is the 5070 Ti. The cheapest I can find it is $1,229, so 1230, about $1,230 from Dynacore. That is, how far is it away from MSRP? Let me double check. Yeah, so this is correct. This is 16% over its official MSRP price, which is about $1,060, $1,050. So it's not bad. It's pretty close. So that is that. If you look at the rest, well, the rest of the 5070 Ti's prices jump up pretty quickly. I can find a few that's 1002, like Bizgram Asia is selling at 1285, and Laser is at 1299, effectively 1003. And then beyond that, the rest are selling from 1003 upwards. From Lazada and even from Infinity Computer is 1004 and 1005. So the price of the 5070 Ti does ramp up pretty fast, but we will compare with the earlier months later. Then it will see that it actually has a promising trend of most of the GPU prices trending down over from March to April. I didn't do a pricing update for May, so let me check. Yeah, I have March, I have April, so I didn't do for May, and now in June the prices actually have been trending down, so it's pretty good. Next NVIDIA card, 5080. So 5080 is also another 16GB VRAM card. The official MSRP is about 1,400 after conversion. So the cheapest I can find it is from the techtubers.com at $1,645. Actually, in the earlier months, I remember like in April, I could find one at price at $1,660 from PC Teams, but PC Teams has stopped giving out its price list. I don't know for whatever reason. I don't know whether the physical shop is still there. I think it should be. One of my customers actually went to it. So the physical shop is still there in Simlim, but they're not giving out the price list. They're not uploading it online. They're not uploading to their website. So I have no way of accessing their price list unless I go down physically to their physical location, to their shop in Simlim. So I don't know whether PC Teams still offer cheap 5080s. The prices that I get from PC Teams here are from their online store, which is really not competitive because their physical store back in April used to offer a lot of GPUs at very competitive prices, like the best prices. So yeah, so I no longer get a pricing update from PC Team, so I don't know whether they will offer that. So that's why the cheapest I can find is from the techtubers.com at price at 1,645 Sing dollars. You could also get other cheaper ones from Amazon. Amazon has one for really cheap at $1,660. I believe this you will get local warranty because if I remember, this is sold by Bizgram Asia, which is this local Simlim Square shop. So they will probably offer local warranty as well. Other than that, other cheap 5080s will be 1,699. That is from Laser Distributor, so about 1,700. Then the rest above them, like from Bizgram Asia, is 1,720 and all that. So you will go above 1,700 for the rest of the 5080s. Moving on, the hottest NVIDIA card, the most in demand NVIDIA card will be the 5090 because it has 32 gigabytes of VRAM, which is really useful for AI workloads as well as other probably VRAM intensive tasks I'm not sure of. So it is more like a workstation card. But actually, the Abawa recently did a review of the RTX 6000 workstation card, and he notes that the 5090 is actually exactly the same as the RTX 6000, but with a lot less VRAM. The RTX 6000 has 96 gigabytes of VRAM, I believe, almost 100 gigs, whereby the 5090 only has 32. So it's like a very poor cousin, one-third of a cousin to the RTX 6000. It is a cut-down version of the RTX 6000 die. But the price is also a lot cut down because the RTX 6000 costs 10,000 USD, whereby the 5090 technically only costs 2,000 USD, so it's about 1/5 the price. Anyway, the cheapest 5090 I can find right now is from Laser Distributor at 4,050. That is with local warranty and all that. If you miss that out, you will still be able to find 5090s below 5,000. From Lazada, we have one at 4,149. That's from Lazada, also from a local Simlim shop. Then from Amazon, I don't know whether if this is local. You can find one at $4,180. And the rest is from Techyard. The Techyard is selling at 4,005 and 4,006 and so on. Can we get cheaper 5090s from Carousell? Let's check it out. So let's say we search for 5090. Yep, so selling an Astro version at 4,400. This is a 4090. We have a 1590 here, selling from Polygon PC at 3,950. So this is below $4,000. So this is actually not a bad deal. Polygon PC, I don't know whether they will offer local distributor warranty. They should. We have this from Tech Prime selling at 3,888. I don't know whether there's local distributor warranty, and so on and so forth. So I would say, yeah, this guy is selling at 3,499. Yeah, I would say, yeah, if you don't mind the risk, you can actually consider buying from Carousell, because Carousell seems to have deals that are even below 4,000 Sing dollars. But some of these could be resold from Aftershock PCs, because Aftershock was offering really good pre-builds with 5090s in them for really decent prices, like 5,000 or so dollars for the whole pre-build with a 5090 included and like a 9800 X3D CPU included as well. So like the value of that pre-built was incredible. So there are people that were simply buying the aftershock pre-builts for 5,000 plus and trying to flip the 5090s for a profit, and then probably trying to sell the rest of the PC for a profit as well. Or they downgrade, they keep the PC, then they downgrade to buy a 5080, for example, and and they earn from, they get sort of like almost get a free PC because it's still not the full price of the PC. So yeah, you can see quite a few people selling Zotac 5090s. So I would say so it could be from the aftershock pre-builds. We have MSRTX 5090, so quite a few. You can see that the prices are trending down, especially on the used market, because there are more and more 5090s flooding the market, and this extra supply is actually pushing the prices down. So that's that. Moving on. So 9060s, 9060 XT 8GB as well as 9060 XT 16GB. So I found that Bizgram Asia has them listed on their price list. So the prices are already listed there. I believe I forgot, is it whether the power color ones or the sapphire ones, but they are listed. And based on the pricing that they list, it seems pretty promising. So as of filming this video, this is before the 9060 reviews go live, and this is before 9060s are officially on sale in the States as well. So for this kind of pricing, 300 USD is MSRP for the 8GB card. So that works out to about 422 Sing dollars. Bizgram Asia lists them for sale about 499, so that is 18% over MSRP. The 16GB card US MSRP is $350. So conversion to SGD, it is about 500 Sing dollars. Bizgram Asia has it listed for 569. So that's about 15% over its MSRP. So it's actually not too bad. So but I would say obvious, wait for reviews. I don't even know whether Bizgram Asia has them in stock yet. Maybe they have them in stock, but they're not allowed to sell them, or maybe they are allowed to sell them. If they're allowed to sell them, you want to be the first guinea pigs to go and try out an untested, unreviewed card, you can go ahead. But I would say try and avoid 8GB cards again. So as I mentioned, if you want an 8GB card at this price, just go and buy a used GPU. You can get 3070 Ti, or you can get a 3080 also below around this price. 3080 you can get it around 500, or you can get 6800 XT 16GB below 500 as well. So anyway, if you're looking for a 16GB card for the 9060 XT, I would say wait for reviews, because at this price again, it is like we could get a used 6800 XT, same for 16GB of VRAM at a cheaper price than the 9060 XT. So it depends on whether the 6800 XT can potentially outperform this 9060 XT. We can also get a 3080 at this price. So can a 3080 with less VRAM, with only 10GB of VRAM or 12GB of VRAM, can it outperform this card as well? So we will have to wait for reviews. Okay, so that is the starting of the AMD cards. Moving on to the next AMD card, the 9070. So the cheapest I can find one is at 899, which is about 900 Sing dollars from Dynacore. The good thing is that if you look at the rest of the prices here, a lot of them are listing for 899. Cybermine Global has it for 899. The techyard.com also 899, and beyond that we have Fullwell at 919. Infinity Computer has one as 909. Laser Distributor has one at 939, and Tech Deals has one listed at 929. So the prices for the 9070 is pretty tight. That means the spread of their price is about 30 Sing dollars. So they're all around the 900, the low 900 SGD range, which is pretty promising. But if you compare this, remember that the 9070 performs similarly to the 5070 from NVIDIA. So if you can get the 5070 at the techyard.com for $809, that is about 90 Sing dollars to almost 100 Sing dollars worth of savings that you can save on your GPU. With that additional $90, you can buy additional fans, a better case. Maybe you can upgrade your SSD from 1TB to 2TB, or from 2TB to maybe contribute to a 4TB SSD, and so on. So there are many things you can do with that about 90 Sing dollars worth of savings. So I would suggest go and buy the 5070 from the techyard.com at 809. But if that sells out, the rest of the 5070s are pretty close to about 900. Then it's up to you to compare whether do you want the 5070 with 12 gigabytes of VRAM, or do you prefer the 9070 with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, because performance for both of the cards is roughly the same, but the 9070 does have 4 gigabytes more VRAM, and I can see the VRAM being used even in some of today's titles. I was playing Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 with the 4K texture pack at 4K resolution, and there were certain points I was playing it on my 3090 with 24 gigabytes of VRAM. So at certain points, the VRAM usage actually spiked to 18 gigabytes. So that is more than 16. But most of the time it is below 16 gigabytes. But there are certain points in the game where the VRAM usage does spike up. And I forgot what other games. I believe Daniel Owen has reviewed Spider-Man 2 Remastered on 4K, and he says that for that game, it is on the borderline of 16 gigabytes of VRAM usage, and yeah, it almost exceeds the 16 gigabyte VRAM usage. Yep. So there are already games today at 4K resolution that needs at least 16 gigabytes or even more of VRAM. So I would say the 9070, if both the 5070 and the 9070 are the same price, the 9070 should be the better buy because more VRAM is more future proof. But if you can get a 5070 at 100 Sing dollars less, 5070 seems like the more logical buy. But leave it up to you to decide whether you prefer this card or that, because Nvidia is more user-friendly in a way, but there's worse drivers compared to the 9070, 9070 XT, and so on and so forth. So that debate can last on forever. Okay, moving on. The competitor to the 5070 Ti, the 9070 XT. So Daniel Owen recently did a re-review of the 9070 XT versus the 5070 Ti, and in summary, both cards are about the same. He was doing that re-review because in the United States, as shown on the screenshot from Paul's Hardware's video, the 9070 XT is at ridiculous prices. MSRP is supposed to be 600 USD, but it is actually selling, the lowest price he can find it in May was 840 USD. That is incredible. That is a 40% above its MSRP. So Daniel Owen was doing that comparison because the 9070s they are probably in very low supply and very high demand because of tariffs. So the Americans can only have their president to blame and their presidential cabinet to blame for the tariffs, for causing all of their GPUs to go crazy out of control, because we have no such problem in Singapore where we don't have tariffs, right? So the 9070 XT, the cheapest I can find is at 989 Sing dollars, which is almost similar price to the 9070 non-XT. This can be bought from Dynacore 989. You can also get it at 989 from Lazada as well, or from a local SimLim shop. So it should have local warranty when you buy from Lazada. A few dollars more, you can get it from the techtubers.com at 995. Cybermind Global has one listed at 999, same as Bizgram Asia listed at 999 Sing dollars. Beyond that, you have techtubers has one listed at 1019. So these are all pretty good. This is 995, right? So at this price, 989, it is, how much is it above MSRP? 17% over the official converted MSRP, which is probably about 850 Sing dollars. But I don't think it's going to get much lower. I think they're going to remain at this price for a while. But then again, it's AMD. So AMD cards have been known to cut down in cost, cut down in price over time. AMD is more willing to lower the prices of their products, such as GPUs and CPUs, to get more sales volume as compared to NVIDIA. NVIDIA has not been willing to lower their prices, especially from what I observed the last few years from the 4000 series. 4000 series has stayed relatively the same over the 2 to 3 years that they were in the market. So there's that. So maybe AMD cards will go even further down, but right now, yeah, pretty good price for a 9070 XT. I'm pretty tempted. If my 7900 XTX doesn't come back from repair, or even if it does come back from repair, I am thinking of buying a 9070 XT at such an attractive price to play games in 4K, because I recently got a 4K monitor. So that aside, moving on to the B580. So the B580 is actually a pretty good value card, as you can see from the numbers here. I'll explain these numbers later. Cheapest I can find now is 399 Sing dollars from Laser Distributor. But the issue is that I think the B580s are running into a supply shock. it seems like they're going out of stock, because if I went to Lazada, right, I couldn't find any of them in stock. Like they have B580s listed. When I click on them and I look at the listing, it is at a similar price, about 400 plus, but they are all out of stock. And then when I look at Newegg, it is 500 plus, and I go to Amazon, it's 488, so way overpriced. And then the next local listing is only from PC Teams. No, this is PC Teams online shop at 419. And one of my customers actually saw the listing on PC Teams, like the white Steel Legend version. He went to PC Teams, he asked for it, and he was told it was out of stock, even though it was listed as in stock on their website and on their price list. But it was out of stock from PC Teams. So my fear for, like, if you're going to get a B580, you should get it fast while the price is below 400, because it looks like the B580s are running into a supply issue. Maybe, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's a really popular card, maybe a lot of people are buying because so many people are recommending the Intel Arc B580, but seems like supply cannot keep up and it's getting out of stock in a lot of places. Okay, so there is that for all the GPU price comparisons. Then I'll talk about my other features of the spreadsheet now. So now, if you can see, I added something new to the spreadsheet, which is the dollar per FPS, which you can access. And if you like to access this spreadsheet and all the previous spreadsheet, I also like to do a shameless plug to my website, which is, it should be here, which is vamosgamingsys.com. Okay, so shameless plug to my own website, vamosgamingsys.com. So this is the place where you can actually access all the price lists that I've done. I've uploaded in my videos. They're all accessible here. If you go to PC component deals, so this is the homepage. Yep. Then you can just click on this link, or you can click on this link at PC component deals. You will go into this page where you can click on any of the pictures here to access the spreadsheets for the various parts. So I have GPU spreadsheet here, CPU, motherboards, DDR5 RAM, SSDs, case, power supply, they're all listed. So example, if I click on this picture for power supply, it will load up the spreadsheet for which I did for my previous month's video on the cheapest power supplies that you can buy. So obviously some of these are not super updated, like the power supply one. I think I did it in last month, May. So as I do updates, I will actually put down the month which I do the update. So in this case, for my GPU one, I have this June one, but you also get access to all the previous month's date. So yeah, so you can compare the pricing to get the best value parts to be your own PC. So yeah, feel free to head over to vamosgamingsys.com. So it's Vamos Gaming with SYS, then followed by .com, and you can get access to all the price lists. Okay, so advertising shout out spot over. So let's go back to my video. What do I have in my spreadsheet here is the dollar per FPS. So this dollar per FPS is something new that I think Gamers Nexus has pioneered. This is how much Sing dollars we are going to pay for each average FPS that we're going to get from the gaming reviews or the benchmarks. So first is this list of the FPS. This is from Tom's Hardware's website. So this is 1440p Ultra. So if we look at this, right? So this is from the Tom's Hardware article where they have actually benchmarked all their GPUs here in 1080p. For 1080p, I think high, 1440p Ultra, 4K, I believe, Ultra, and then 1080p medium. So those are the four settings. So personally, I choose 1440p Ultra because I think most gamers right now are usually gaming at 1440p because 1440p monitors are pretty cheap. So I'm no longer using 1080p as like the typical benchmark. So as an easy, quick number as a guide. Because 1440p is more of a GPU test rather than 1080p, which sometimes can boil down to a CPU test. Because if you have a slow CPU, you get really low FPS in 1080p. So yeah, that's that. So anyway, 1440p, more of a GPU test. So I've listed down the average FPS as listed by Tom's Hardware. But some of these I made some guesses. For example, they didn't have the 5060 and 5060 Ti FPS yet. But I made a guess based on the 4060 and 4060 Ti FPS, and I added a few FPS on top of it. to make it as close as possible. So the 9060 and 9060 XT, I don't dare to put any number to it because we don't know how they perform. They're probably going to perform less than the 9070 for sure, but yeah, so I don't put any FPS number to it. So using this FPS number, what I did was that I took the FPS and I divided by I took the price in SGD. So I took the price in SGD, for example, a 5060 8GB. Let's say we buy it for 459 Sing dollars. So I took that price and I divided it by 40 FPS on average on 1440p Ultra from a typical gaming benchmark, and we get $11 per FPS. So obviously this number, the lower the better. The lower means you're getting more FPS for your money, for your dollar. Yeah, so more FPS per dollar. Wait, more, you're paying less dollar per FPS. Sorry, let me rephrase that. So the less you are paying per FPS, the better, the more value for money. So what is the most valued GPU in this charts? You will see that surprisingly, 5070 is ranking quite well. So it's at $9.95 per FPS. And that is because I have used the techtubers.com's 809 5070 as the benchmark, so to say. Compare it with a 9070, which I feel like is less value because they're both performing pretty similarly. Tom's Hardware actually gave a FPS benefit to the 9070. Even with that added FPS benefit, the 9070 is actually $10.28 per FPS. So it loses out to the $9.95 from the 5070. So 5070 at 809 still has better value. What is the next best value GPU? Should be the B580. So the B580, a lot of people have been giving positive reviews for it. And why is because it's really cheap for the amount of FPS it provides. So $9.23 SGD per FPS. That is assuming that you can see that FPS performance by Tom's Hardware actually rates it higher than a 5060 because of the higher amounts of VRAM. So the higher amounts of VRAM actually gives an advantage in certain gaming benchmarks, especially at 1440p. So yeah, but that is assuming if you get a B580 at $399. Because if you are getting at above 400 Sing dollars, then the B580 is not really worth it. So at above 400 Sing dollars, again, I would go and suggest go and get a 6800 XT used from the used market from Carousell, because 6800 XT with 16GB of VRAM is going to blow the B580 out of the water, because B580 only has 12GB of VRAM, and yeah, it's nowhere near this kind of performance. I think 6800 XT is performing similar to like 5060 Ti kinds of levels. Yeah, so definitely will blow B580 out of the water. Yep. So there is that. Anything else that I want to add in this video? Nope, I think that's it. So as I mentioned earlier, if you want to check out all my spreadsheets, you can go to vamosgamingsis.com, which is my homepage. I will link it in the video description below. Can check it out. If you are looking for me to build a PC for you, so I already feature all the price lists there. So let's say, obviously, you can use the price list free of charge. You can use the Excel spreadsheets, look for the cheapest parts and build your own PC. But if you are not sure of how to build your own PC, then you can look for all the cheapest parts there and you can contact me. I'll probably leave my WhatsApp number in these videos, or you can get it from my website, my homepage there. When you click contact us or contact me on the website, it will link you to my phone number. Okay, so you can contact me there. You can send me a WhatsApp message or give me a call, and we can arrange. So my commission charges will be 10% of the total build cost. So if you're building a $3,000 beast of a gaming CPU, or maybe $3,000 workstation PC, then I'll be charging $300. Then if you're building a really budget system for about 1,000 SGD, then I'll be charging $100. So pretty transparent system, 10%. If you are spending more, I will charge more. If you're spending less, I'll charge less, because it depends on the value of your build. Okay, so that's that. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave it in the video below, and we will see you guys in the next video.